If you're starting out and you don't have any hops contracted, you sort of have to buy what's available for, they call spot buy. So it's what they have at hand that they're going to ship immediately. So when you look at the spot list, a lot of the, the more popular ones aren't there. And to get those, you look at their contract list from 5 years out, and then you pick which ones that you want to brew with later on. And you're guaranteed. It's not 100% guaranteed because they may not have enough, depending on climate and so droughts and all that. But that's pretty much how it works.
So will it be? Did you say 5 years? Will it be 5 years before you actually have though?
No, they just go. I mean, you can do a 5-year contract. You can contract up to 5 years or whatever. You can do. Different hop suppliers do different contracts, but
now seeing you decided to go do this, you decided to do it before August, but we're going to use that date. So you decided then. We're now in 2015. So did you decide what you wanted for next year already, or are we still spot buying and you won't get yours until 2017? It's
a lot of pre-planning there.
It is. It's the hop game, is what it is.
Right.
I mean, it's
and it's not unique to us. There's, what we're hearing is that that's occurring through the breweries that have been established in Portland, that they're having to manipulate recipes. So even though it's frustrating for us, we take comfort in knowing that others are playing this game as well, and that it's not unique to just a startup, new brewery. So we're trying to just wrap our head around being comfortable with that so that we can always do it.
Yep.
Right, and not be
until we
intimidated
start
by
growing
just,
our own.
There you go.
This is a really tall building. You can just encapsulate it with hop plants.
Yeah,
There
just
you
tons
go.
of hops.
Some of our listeners right now might be hearing some shuffling in the background. Alex is in the other room doing stuff. You guys have stuff to do every moment of the day.
Yep, it doesn't stop.
every second of the day.
Every second of the day. And that won't stop even after you open.
No. It's only going to get better. At least then we'll have beer, right?
At least
There you go.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Well, excellent. Is there anything else that if I came to you tomorrow, John, and I said, I'm going to start a brewery, what would you say to me?
The biggest thing I think to do is to know or be comfortable with your municipality on what they want. There were certain requirements that we needed here, we need to have a hand wash sink in the brewery itself. Now the bar has to have a certain amount of sinks behind it and sanitation, obviously, for serving beer. But there are little things like the hand wash sink in the brewery that some municipalities in this area don't require. But we're comfortable with with putting those requirements in because we know that the city's doing it for a reason. So, I would say even when you're starting your research into the starting of a brewery or the potential of doing it, is to approach that municipality and talk to them about what it's going to do. You don't know also about the area that you're going to be going into. If you have a lot set out, is it zoned properly? If it's not zoned, you may have to go in front of a planning board. And that planning board could do anything from, say, absolutely, come on in, to saying you need to plant $15,000 worth of trees out front to soften the space between you and a budding zone.
Wait, do you have to do that? I mean,
No,
you mentioned it was something you might have actually run into.
I know.
No, that was just an example, but
Okay.
I mean, they could require you to pay for sewerage upgrades, many things. So that's really the biggest thing that could stop you. That and not having proper funding. The proper funding doesn't even get you to. If you don't have that in place, you're not even at the conversation with the municipality. That's really it. Just get comfortable with the TTB. Get used to the song that they play on the whole message. Get used to that. I can sing it for you right now.
Yes, I think you should.
It's fantastic.
I think you should hum it.
It's copyrighted by the TTB. I can't
True,
sing
okay.
it. They created it. This is annoying.
Is that to deter all people that may be maybe I want to do this?
Right.
No.
Right. But the city and the town is a swift river. And if you're going with them, it's a lot easier. So approaching them early guarantees you that you can maintain compliant and what they need. That's really the biggest thing that we came out of this, of years of research and looking into this, and the recipe part and the brewery part, and trying to have an idea of what's happening in the other room. But when we walked away from the meeting with the city, it was like, all right, now we're on a steady course towards actually doing this.
Oh, very nice. Receive the city's blessing, if you will.
Right.
Yeah.
And
No, that's important.
from that, I have two questions, kind of frivolous questions, if you will. But so back in episode 6, we talked about water. When you were home brewing, were you actually on the same water system, or have you had to? I don't know what Wyndham's on. Then
I'm on Portland.
okay,
Yeah.
so
Oh,
that
okay.
what you
Yep.
just had the same base, and I hear
Yep.
that the water quality can change things quite a bit when you're brewing.
No, we're fortunate, and I have no doubt in saying this at all, that we have some of the best water
Yeah.
anywhere, anywhere, coming out of Sebago for what we've done with our test batches. So we're lucky in what he was doing at his house and my house in Portland, and then what we have available here.
Right.
You know, just a few miles over in Cape, we'd be in a different situation with the well and where it comes from, or inland more and off the path of the pipeline coming in. But I mean, that's made for Maine people to know. But
We have amazing water here in Maine.
we have
do.
fantastic
I
water
love
here.
the
Portland
tap water.
is great.
It is.
You go in and then you deal with whatever's coming out of the well. I grew up on well water,
Me too.
so
Yep. No,
and
it's
in spring
fantastic.
water when it got tested bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Been there.
And so the second question is, I know that some breweries are doing like Kickstarter to help them get going. I know some are just kind of like bootstrapping it. Do you feel comfortable telling us kind of how you did it? Is it out of you three, or is it like, how did you fund yourself?
We funded ourselves through money that we had saved amongst the group, and that's where it came from.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it was hard work, and it was not only we're saving a lot of money in. TJ and I were joking in here yesterday, working that because we don't actually have weekends. I don't even remember what a weekend is.
I don't either.
But we're in here yesterday.
I don't know what a
and he's
weeknight
doing,
is.
Yeah, exactly. He's doing machining work, tapping lights, and tapping, I guess, is the
Yeah,
term.
cutting new threads in.
And
Wow.
he's doing that while I'm woodworking. You know, and he said, well, through this process, we've learned how to work with concrete, we've learned how to work with pipe, and learn how to be a machinist, essentially, well, kind of machinist, and woodworking. And we've maintained it with, we can show 10 fingers, but we haven't cut anything off.
Impressive.
Yeah.
It's impressive. It is.
That was the other big thing that we had to do was our own floor drains. That took a big chunk of time because we were learning how to do that at the same, just
It was a month worth
neither
of
one of
work.
us had ever done anything like that. So
That's crazy.
yeah.
That's kind of like the old Maine ingenuity right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, my dad is very much from Maine, and there's a joke that Bob Marley says, who's also very much from Maine, about like building a deck out back of the house. Like somebody says they can do it for $1,000, but he can do it himself. You may not want to stand on that corner. It's going to be a little off. He did it for $999 and he saved $1.
I did it myself.
Exactly. I mean, that's the whole
pride
thing
in
here.
it.
It's like there's like this pride in doing everything
Right.
yourself.
Yeah.
My father built our house, and my brother could like put a Matchbox car on the floor and race them down the hall.
Yeah.
Plumb is all in perspective. It's plumb off something.
Right.
All right.
Exactly.
Yes.
We joke that because it would at some point we did it as fans of craft beer, where we'd walk into a brewery and we'd see a brewer and we'd talk to them and be like, oh, you're so lucky. So we're like, it's frustrating now that we picture ourselves being like having somebody come in and be like, oh man, I'd love to have a brewer, because it's like, if you want it, you got to prepare it, you got to wrap, unless you've got a bazillion dollars that you're like, all right, go in and do this work, put that ceiling up, nothing drops into your lap. I'm sure in any business, you know,
Yeah,
it's not that's not
Yeah.
unique to beer. At least with beer, you know, you've got that sort of motivator that, hey, we've made it through another day of not cutting a finger off.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's drink some of the beer that we brew on
Drink
the
to
pilot
that.
system.
I like that is like the good day.
I know.
I've got 10 fingers.
The fingers are
Hey.
still there.
Two? Yes.
It's important. It's
That's it. Like,
that's success.
right, that's a successful day.
I think it's pretty great.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty great. Well, you
Perfect.
clearly you are no strangers to hard work, so you and you're willing to put in the hours. So that says a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
you love what you do, or you love beer.
One or the other.
We love the idea of going to work and doing something that you love to do and that you're passionate about.
Right.
And both of us, not opening a commentary sort of about our current jobs, but we both love the idea and the creativity aspect of owning a brewery. That, you know, that we can create something fantastic
Yeah.
and people can enjoy it. And that's a sort of, there's no instant satisfaction there, but within 2 weeks, depending on the beer you're making, you have satisfaction of that, of that craft.
And you can share that.
And when you start hiring employees, that's going to be something that you look for in your employees, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Got it.
I really have a passion for
I
craft.
do too.
You do
I,
too?
I,
Do you know what I do for a living? I talk about beer.
hey,
Don't you as well?
I do.
All right, cool.
I
We're
do.
just going to put that out there. Let it sit.
Okay. All right. Let's
On that note, let's move on to round 3.
Oh, yeah.
I'll get
three.
this one. Round 3. So what we want to know is your first beer memory from both of you. Whatever that might be. Might be tasting it or not, seeing it.
I
What
saw
does that
the
mean?
beer this one time. It was awesome. I was like, yes, I'm
I
stuck.
saw beer.
Well, I'll say my first good beer memory, because I used to drink Coors Light or lagers of that nature. And I was just at, you know, my wife's birthday party. I can't remember where, I think it was at Thatcher's, and they had pub style on tap, and I tried it, and it was really good. And, you know, that just sort of veered me away from those, you know, those mass-produced lagers that I had been used to, and it sort of opened my eyes to good beer. I mean, that
All right.
pops out of my head right there. But
Again, we will thank your wife. Thank you for having a birthday.
Happy birthday. You're up.
You know, maybe it's corny, but I mean, in all reality, there's this absolute truth to it that when I started dating my wife, there was a whole group of people, including Spencer and his wife and friends, and we had a friend that bartended at Gritty's down in the Old Port. So I, at the time, and still at this point, and was working for the state. So I worked the building that I was in was just up the street a little bit. Thursdays we would meet down at Gritty's in the Old Port, or they would meet and had been for a long time. And so I sort of got the nod, like, all right, he's not that much of a creep. Come on, come on down.
It's kind of like the coach being like, all right, come
You're
on
in
in.
Legacy
Let's go.
temporarily. And
We'll see how it works out.
right,
That's right.
going down there, and I had been a macro guy, so I started drinking, you know, Gritty's Brown and pub style down there, and their IPA, and it was like, whoa, like what is this? This is just like blowing my mind. And I mean, that is no exaggeration. Like that was just like I had nothing like that. And at the time, craft beer in Portland was small. There were only a handful. It's not the mass that it is now. So having that, you know, and being with that group down there, and then of course, you know, we talked about Spence and having him there and being like, what, like brown? I don't like dark beers, you know, like just shut up and try it. That just blossomed, and it was that, you know, anybody that's been down there knows upstairs with the long tables and the long benches, it's just incredible.
Yeah.
That's really where it came out of. That it's just a love of that, and those weren't overwhelming or like crazy beers. Those were just great quality English beers that a great amount of time and great craftsmanship had gone into making